Dude, the DFS Huddle, it's week 1. It's finally here. We finally have something real to fucking talk about. Week 1 showdown, Thursday night football, Cowboys, Eagles. We're going to break it down, talk strategy, tournament strategy. I'm a big tournament guy. Eric, you're more of a 50-50 guy, right? The cash game. So we're going to talk both strategies. That works perfect on both sides here. First things first, I want to say thank you to everyone watching. We appreciate the support already. If you want like more from us, want to see some of the lineups we're playing, write-ups, best bets, all that stuff. The link for the Patreon's below. That's $15. There's tons of stuff. I mean, day 1 yesterday, we gave out to second place in the WNBA DFS. So we're already on a roll. We're doing NASCAR, we're doing MMA, we're doing all that stuff, whatever we can, but a lot of football stuff, rankings. I've already posted like 20 optimized lineups using a player pool and just kind of giving people some ideas of lineup construction, because this particular game, Eric, it's week 1, divisional rivals, but there's 6 or 7 guys who you could realistically put in the captain spot, and they're all expensive. So lineup construction gets really, really tough in these. So we're going to break all that down, talk about some value plays, but I'm pumped for week 1. So pumped for week 1. You're going to go heavier. I think I'm going to go fairly light, maybe a couple lineups in this Thursday night showdown, because I feel like there's a lot of variables. What do you do? Are you just too excited, going to go over the top, or are you going to keep it light?
I'm probably going to do a 50-50 and then a tournament. I try to limit myself to 2 lineups on Thursday the best that I can. It being week 1, I may go a little crazy, but my goal is not to go a little crazy in week
1. And yeah, stay tuned, because there's a Friday game. So we're going to have a Friday single game showdown. And then later in the week, we'll have our full breakdown of the entire slate. Again, all of our like rankings and wide receiver cornerback matchups, which I'll have up tomorrow. All that stuff is down in the Patreon. Super cheap, 50 cents a day. And that's where we're putting all the work. And we appreciate everyone that signed up. Please subscribe to the channel wherever you're watching. Like, subscribe, share it. We appreciate you guys. DFS is back. The DFS Bachelor's back. We got ETOP 2-1. I'm fucking pumped. So, look, this game in general, I think when you play these single games, you want to do a game script, right? And each lineup kind of wants to tell a story. So, do you see the Eagles? What are the Eagles favored right now in this game? It's an 8-point spread, 8.5. So do you see this game being a blowout for the Eagles? I think the Cowboys are going to struggle to run the ball. I don't know how they're going to run it. I think they're going to have to throw it a ton. We playing blowout script here. Is this game close? Do we see turnovers? What do you think overall, just game script wise? Do you think the Cowboys can keep this close? I will say, when you go back to 2023, the last time Dak actually saw the Eagles, they played really well. Again, he played really well. 5 touchdowns that year, no picks. CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson were really, really good. But they don't have any running backs to speak of. We saw the Micah Parsons. Is this going to be one of those low energy, low vibes, we get our asses kicked, or are the Cowboys going to keep it close? What do you think?
I think the Cowboys are going to keep it close. I don't mean to give away one of the bets I'm going to post on the Patreon, but it is going to be the Cowboys plus the points. I'll have a full write-up with trends and everything. But, you mentioned Dak. First game against the Eagles last time he played, 29 for 44, 374, 3 tutties, no INTs. The next game they played, 24 for 39, 271, 2 TDs, no INTs. Dak did well against this defense, and the back end is missing some key players. No Slay, no Gardner Johnson. Those young kids, Mitchell and Dejon Cooper that they drafted, those are going to be the quote-unquote featured guys now. And in the Schottenheimer system, Lamb work in the middle, 2 or 3 wide receivers on the outside running vertical routes. It's going to exploit this Eagles secondary, which I think is what they're going to have to do. I think Schottenheimer, from everything I've read and the research I did, is going to look to open up the playbook a lot more passing, and they're going to use the passing to kind of set up the run, bring in Brooker in through the.
They have to. Yeah. They have to. You're not going to beat the Eagles running with Javonte Williams is terrible.
Well, I mean,
Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders are your 2 running backs. That's dog shit. I mean, let's call it what it is. He's fucking
Javonte
awful.
Williams pre-knee injuries were pretty good. I mean, he's had a ton of knee injuries.
Okay. But, I mean, Javonte Williams as your number 1 back right now is awful.
Yeah.
It's negligence. In my opinion, it's negligence.
I agree fully, but we all know Blue's going to be taking that spot over by week 6, 7, whatever.
Eventually. I would hope so. If he's worth his salt at all, he's going to take it over.
I mean, I look at this, for me, my mindset is in my captain spot, I'm either going to put Prescott or one of the two wide receivers in the captain spot. That's kind of how I feel a lot of people are going to have Barkley. As crazy as it sounds, Micah Parsons sucked against the run. He was awful against the run. They brought in Clark. Eberflus with his gap skunt system, I think is going to have some success. They lost Becton, their guard, to the Chargers. Now they have a second-year player who was very low PFF. I think he was graded 40. He was graded the 75th out of 77th right guard. Johnson just came back, so they do get an upgrade there. Offensive line isn't as deep as it used to be. I think the Cowboys are going to be able to limit Saquon. Then it goes to Jalen Hurts passing. I would lean Smith because of Brown, just because I'm trying to look against the grain. You know what I mean?
Well, yes. And so that's my strategy. You guys are going to hear me talk. I'm trying to win a tournament. And when you're playing these single game tournaments in DFS on FanDuel and DraftKings, leaving salary on the table is the number one thing you can do to make yourself different. 90% of casual players are going to use all of their salary. They think they have to make that salary to zero. So just leaving 100, 200, 300 salary left over is already going to differentiate yourself. You want to try, if you're trying to finish up top. Now, look, the optimal lineup may end up being the chalk lineup. That happens all the fucking time in these things. And then you have 1,000 ties at the top and you still win, $800, $900. But it's not the 25, 50, 100,000 that you could get if you differentiate yourself. And so when you hear me talk tournaments and strategy, how I build lineups, you're going to hear a lot of that because I'm not here to cash. I'm here to win. And so that's what we're doing here at the DFS Huddle. Real close last night in WNBA DFS second place. So we got a lot of that at the Patreon. Please click that link. Let's start here with quarterbacks. So we got the two quarterbacks, Hurts and Prescott. Obviously, the better defense is the Eagles. And I would push back a little bit. I think that DeJean and Mitchell are very, very good. They were sensational last year. They allowed 0.19 and 0.21 fantasy points per route ran against, which is very, very good. That's in the red. Now, the difference this year is that third corner. So you're going to have Cooper DeJean is going to play the slot. 99% of his were in the slot this last year. So they're going to have to throw to the perimeter. And I just think the Cowboys are going to have to throw more. So even though I think Jalen Hurts will be more popular, and I'll certainly have Jalen Hurts, and I'm not going to call you stupid for putting Jalen Hurts in your captain spot, but the fact is he's 11,000 on DraftKings, making him 16.5 in your captain spot. On FanDuel, he's 16.8 in your captain spot. It's hard to construct a lineup without just using both kickers, which is probably going to be the cash game way to play. But I think the upside, even if the Cowboys are losing and the Eagles are up, you could see a world where it's rushing touchdowns. It's Barkley, 1 or 2 touchdowns. Maybe Will Shipley gets in, or Hurts runs one in, which always the upside of Hurts, right? So the upside's there. But I could see a world where Dak comes close in points. And so making him, now typically you don't want the quarterback to be your captain. On FanDuel, much more so. On DraftKings, only, I believe it's 19% of lineups with quarterback as MVP one, and only 19% of the time. It's because you get the full point per reception on DraftKings. So those receptions become a lot more valuable, only a half point on FanDuel. I think the upside to Dak is there. I'm going to be over on Dak and under on Hurts, but I'll still have both. That's how I'm approaching it. For tournaments, if you're playing cash game, you almost have to have both. What do you think?
I mean, if I'm going to, I think Dak has to be in the lineup. I mean, when I ran my little projection model, I had Dak at, where was it? 40 pass attempts, 285 yards. So I think he's going to have to throw the ball. Like I said, I think the key thing is with Javonte Williams, they're going to have to pass the ball a lot more. And everything about the Schottenheimer offense screams passing from any time that
Well, they have to. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Whether it's successful or not is another question. And we'll get to the wide receivers, why I think it might be an interesting spot to attack will be. But they have to throw it. They're not going to run it 20 times to Javonte Williams and win. Miles Sanders is not going to be like everything's going to be predicated through the pass. That's why you have George Pickens. That's why you have CeeDee Lamb. Everything's going to be predicated to the pass. So I have Hurts projected 53% owned and Prescott 46. I'll probably be a little bit high. I'll probably be like 60 or 70, maybe 80% Prescott, and more like 30% Hurts for me. And I'm going to try to differentiate just because it's going to be so popular. So if maybe we get an injury or we get something else. And of course, in my 50-50 cash games, I'm going to have Jalen Hurts. The rushing, I mean, anytime they're at the 1 yard line, he's a threat to get a touchdown. And then you get 2 rushing touchdowns and you win. So playing him at captain is fine. But again, lineup construction is going to be tough. We'll do some of that at the end of the show. We'll try to make a lineup here and just kind of tinker around with how difficult it is at that price. Let's go to running backs. So obviously, Saquon's at the top. The question is, do you put him at captain, the most expensive player?
I'm not.
Last 2 games against the Cowboys, by the way, 22-9. So not massive games. Again, I'm not sold on this Cowboys defense. He could have a huge game at Saquon Barkley. But again, I'm not going to have much of him. It's safe to have him at captain. Him and Hurts are the safe 2 options. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have less of it in tournaments. What do you think here?
I'm going to take a stand. I'm going to put my flag on the ground. I'm not going to have Saquon in any lineups. Didn't do well last year against them. I think Clark there actually helps the run defense of the Cowboys. And not having Becton at guard is going to hurt the offensive line. And the offensive line is already banged up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to fade Saquon going into.
How about a couple dart throws? Will Shipley's the RB2, AJ Dillon RB3.
AJ Dillon.
If you play, if you would play, so my buddy who's an Eagles guy doesn't think he's even going to see the field. Thinks it'd be all Will Shipley.
Okay.
I tend to disagree, and so it depends on your game script, right? So if you're playing a lineup predicated on the Eagles are going to kick the shit out of the Cowboys, well, you know, Saquon Barkley, including the playoffs, had 87 touches last year. They need to limit his touches. They're not going to give him unnecessary touches, especially week 1. None of these guys really played in the preseason. You wonder where their stamina is at. They could get winded. So I could see number 2 and number 3 running backs. What about Will Shipley? 2,000 minimum down here at 2,000 DraftKings if you're trying to get cute.
If you're trying to get cute, yeah. If you're trying to get cute, trying to pay down for an option.
I mean, he's the Kenneth Gainwell of the offense. Kenneth Gainwell saw the field plenty last year. I mean, let's see. Saquon Barkley played 69% of offensive snaps last year. I think that might even go down. So we're talking about 35% offensive snap share you could have to Will Shipley at 2,000. Now, what if you want to get real crazy and play him at captain and hope he gets a touchdown? And then you can pay up and play every other single stud.
I mean, dude, that's a ballsy play. Like in a millionaire maker, I have a free ticket looking at this one right here in a contest, just put Shipley in, you know, because you're right. If he does get a tutty, you know, he'll pay for that price, and then you're able to put everyone else in the lineup. You know, that's a good. And
he's cheaper than AJ Dillon. I like Will Shipley, and I have one more guy who we'll talk about it just a little bit, and I'll have a nice. And again, I think right now I got like 18, like just lineup simulator, high projected lineups that I put out for the patrons in there. So if you've signed up and haven't seen it yet, get in there. Click that. What about these Cowboys running backs then? You got Javonte Williams, 5,400, Miles Sanders, 4,000. Are you playing either of them?
No. For me, I think this is a passing type game, as crazy as it sounds. Like I think,
yeah, for the Cowboys it is for sure. Now listen, if Javonte, and last year, by the way, the Eagles allowed the fewest fantasy points to opposing running backs last year. Look, if I was going to play one, it'd be Javonte Williams. It's at one of the lower prices you're going to get for an RB1 in these contests for sure. But I got to say, I'm not going to do it. And if Javonte Williams goes off, then I'm going to lose, and that'll be that. And there's going to be plenty of that to come this year. That's sort of where I'm at on that. Let's go to the wide receivers here. This is where it gets interesting for me. You talked about that Eagles secondary. So we talked about Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, and I thought they played well in terms of fantasy points allowed. They did well. Where it gets dicey is this third corner for the Eagles is Adoree Jackson. Is who they have listed as their third defensive back this year. Let me see. Who's the fourth guy? Let me pull up the fourth guy. It's Calais Ringo. Adoree Jackson used to be a Pro Bowl caliber player 4 or 5 years ago. Spent some time with the Giants. Been hurt. Hasn't played much. Not very good anymore. Quinyon Mitchell plays on his side of the field. Quinyon Mitchell plays on the defensive right side, 99% of his snaps last year. Cooper DeJean spent 99% of his snaps in the slot, and then Darius Slay would sit on the other side. So Adoree Jackson's going to be planted over there on the outside. Jalen Tolbert, who last year for the Cowboys played 76% of their offensive snaps, is going to be the number 3 guy, followed by Devontae Turpin. When you look at Jalen Tolbert last year for the Cowboys in terms of his distribution of snaps, he played in the slot, so he spent 70% of his snaps on the perimeter. You would think they're going to want – now, listen, the Eagles don't move their defensive backs around the field unless they've changed their scheme this year and they're going to start shadowing. They did not do that last year. Those opportunities to get Pickens and Jalen Tolbert on the perimeter against Adoree Jackson's where they're going to look to go. They're going to try to get, I think, CeeDee Lamb matched up on Adoree Jackson as well, get him out of the slot. Jalen Tolbert, for me, 3,400 on DraftKings. I think he's an interesting guy. They trust him. He was with the team last year. I could see Jalen Tolbert at 3,400. He's my sleeper guy, and I might even do one captain lineup with him and then pay up everywhere else.
I like that. I like that a lot. Attacking the weakness of Parda. He definitely is a field stretcher. The thing with Turbin is you are going to get the potential for him to return a kick. He is electric in the return game. For me, I really like Pickens, and he has a deep threat ability, 15.3 yards per reception. 17% of his catches were 30-plus yards last year. New role as that wide receiver 2 is going to be more of a field stretcher, I think, from everything I've read. My projectum has him at 6 receptions, 75 yards, and 1 TD. If he does that in his captain spot at $12,000, I would like that. And then I could put Prescott and stack those two together, putting him in the lineup. Lamb is interesting, 7 catches, 90.1 yards, 200-yard games versus Philly. Are they going to Fangio is one of the smartest DCs in the game. And if I'm Fangio, I'm going to take Lamb away.
They're going to try. The Cowboys move him around so much and get him in. I think CeeDee Lamb I'm going to take his 80-plus receiving yards, I think, at plus money. I like CeeDee Lamb a lot. He's going to have double-digit targets. Dak Prescott's been looking forward to throwing to him. There's just going to be a lot of passing attempts to go around. That secondary is going to be tired. You got to remember, this is the first game of the year. Yeah. So a lot of these guys are going to get tired. So some of these backups could be more of a premium. Turpin and Jalen Tolbert are interesting. Let me ask you about Jahan Dotson, slot guy for the Eagles. The Eagles never use their slot guy. He's 3,200, but he's on the field a lot, played 58% of the offensive snaps last year. If you're looking for tournament dart throws, Tolbert and Dotson and Turpin would be my guys. I love Pickens or CeeDee Lamb at the captain. Now, what about the Eagles? Cowboys don't have a great secondary. They just re-signed Deron Bland. He's good. The other two options for them on the defensive side, not so good. You got Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland.
Yeah.
Is Diggs ready? Are they both healthy? Then Kaiir Elam. It's in that slot. If you can get Johan, that's going to be the weakness. Kaiir Elam coming over from Buffalo. What do you think about that? What do you think Eagles-wise? You take an A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith? They're about 1,000 apart.
I would take Devontae Smith. I just feel he's going to be lined up in the slot a little bit more. He'll have a little bit more of the better matchups. You get to pay down for a limit for him. As you mentioned, you save $1,000. My projection has him at 75 yards and 6 receptions. He is 60% to score a touchdown. That's the main thing. Are we going to get that touchdown? Just because he's not really a big red zone guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's not.
Well, the Eagles are just a run, tush-push red zone team. They do get to A.J. Brown on occasion and Dallas Goedert. But
the interesting wide receiver for me is the guy they just traded from the Texans, Meacham.
John Mechie?
John Mechie. Interesting. Came in very highly touted, had some injury concerns. Starting over here, that's the guy that I'm kind of drawn to a little bit, as crazy as it sounds, as kind of like that low budget dart throw type guy.
Okay, we'll put him in the dart throws. So your dart throws, Mechie. Yeah. I like Tolbert or Turpin, maybe Jahan Dotson, but and Will Shipley. If I'm throwing that in there, we'll have some all the sleepers. But okay, yeah, John Mechie.
One more.
I just don't know how much he's going to play. When did they trade for him? How long ago is he? How long has he been with the team? A couple weeks. Mid August.
I was so high on Terrence Marshall when he came to the league from LSU, and this kid has done nothing. He was buried on the Panthers depth chart, never got a chance. Could he be their jump ball guy?
No, I mean that's getting real crazy with it.
I know.
But again, if you're gonna do it, these are the slates to do it in. So if you want to sprinkle them in one, not for me. For me, I'd much rather have Jalen Tolbert. I'm gonna have a lot of Jalen Tolbert.
Yeah.
Much more Tolbert. But yeah, get a little jiggy with it. Again, single game slate in 50-50s. And if you want to be different at captain, I don't hate CeeDee Lamb at captain. I think he's very viable. Could jumpstart you right away. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are going to be less owned. Again, they have upside. Either one of them could have 2 touchdowns and 100 yards on Thursday night. So they could both, and they're going to be lower owned in the captain spot than, say, a Saquon Barkley, then a Jalen Hurts, and probably even Dak Prescott. So and I would imagine CeeDee Lamb's a little bit higher, too. Right now, I have A.J. Brown higher owned projection than CeeDee Lamb. Again, this is week 1, and my dad is kind of, it's week 1-ish, and we'll see what happens. We don't, know for sure. Yep. We'll have to see. Tight ends here. I love me some Jake Ferguson. Dak Prescott loves him some Jake Ferguson. Go back to 2023 in the 2 games Dak played with Jake Ferguson against the Eagles. Jake Ferguson, 5 catches, 72 yards. The game before that, I believe it was 7 catches, 91 yards and a touchdown. I like Jake Ferguson. I think he's a sneaky captain play as well at 5,200, and you can also pay way up. And that's a guy who is going to be on the field a ton. He's going to be a main target of Dak Prescott. He loves going to Jake Ferguson. He should have a much bigger bounce back year. If you're looking waiver wire, deep tight end, I like Jake Ferguson a lot. I would have Ferguson over Goddard, and Ferguson's cheaper. Give me much more Ferguson than Goddard. But then again, Jalen Hurts loves him some Dallas Goedert. 11, 7, 8, and 10 in his last 4 against Dallas. Double-digit fantasy points in each of the last 4 games he played in last year. What do you think here at tight end, Ferguson or Goddard?
I mean, I'm looking at Ferguson right now. He's going to get 5 targets. That kind of seems to be his bench line against the Cowboys. But it comes to the point, if I've already have my head set, I got Pickens, I got Prescott. I feel I need to go the opposite end. So I think the middle of the field is going to be the weak part of the secondary for the Cowboys. So then my stance is, do I do Smith or do I do Goddard? If I do Goddard, I'm not going to do Smith. I kind of lean Goddard because I think, as you mentioned, those numbers are too good to pass up.
Yeah, I like them both, but I'm going to have a lot of Jake Ferguson. I think they're both sneaky contrarian captain picks in tournaments and almost a must in cash game for salary relief. You're going to need one or both of these tight ends. Kickers always become interesting. I wish they didn't fucking exist in these, but they're salary savers and they're point producers.
Yep.
In 2 of Brandon Aubrey's last 3 games last year for an anemic Cowboys offense, he scored 16 and 21 fantasy points. Jake Elliott, 10, 11, and 7. These guys are at 4,800 and 4,400. If you're playing cash games, the kicker's got to be involved. I'm inclined to play Brandon Aubrey. I like both kickers. They're both live, but I think the Eagles will be much better in the red zone and much better in critical downs, third downs with their running game. The Cowboys are going to be throwing it a lot. They didn't play a lot in preseason. Dak has been hurt, so there could be some rust. They get the ball in between the 20s but aren't efficient in the red zone. It wouldn't shock me if the Cowboys kicked 3 field goals in the first half. So give me Brendan Aubrey. I prefer Aubrey 1, Elliott 2, but I'm going to have a lot of Brendan Aubrey. I really am. You just can't beat. He's got 20-point upside at 4,000. Who else can you say that about on this slate?
I feel you hit the nail on the head with your comment about the red zone accuracy. If they're not going to be punching the ball in and scoring threes, that's the thing. You obviously have to trust the Eagles more in the red zone than you do the Cowboys. And also Sirianni's proven he's more likely just to push it in if it gets right. Short and everything. So
the Cowboys, I could see the Cowboys kicking a field goal after not getting it in from the 3 to 4 yard line because they can't run the ball and they throw incomplete passes. Because they're going to struggle to run the ball against a very stout Eagles defense. Quickly here, do you have any interest in either defense?
No.
I'm not. I think there's points scored by both teams here. If I was going to play one defense, it's most certainly the Eagles. Just because, they're the better defense. And if Dak's a little off, pick 6 upsides, all there with the Eagles. On the flip side, if you're playing the Cowboys, if you do a Cowboys defense, you're trying to be different, I would stack it with Kevontae Turpin because you're hoping for a kick return for a touchdown. Double down on the Turpin. It's going to be Turpin, and you're going to see a lot more kick returns. That makes Turpin live. He's a dart throw there.
Is that going to be our new sling? Dart throws?
Dart throws. Dart throw. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I just can't. I don't know. That's just what I always called it. I don't even.
Oh, no. I said it before by dart throw. I forget who I mentioned, but.
Oh, yeah. It was the blue horseshoe or something. Yeah. But I felt like someone.
No, dart throw. Who did I say? God, who the fuck did I say was my dart throw? Totally spacing.
Oh,
Michi.
John Mechie III.
Yeah.
For the Eagles. So if we just make like a sample lineup, let's say we do something cute, tournament, right? Let's go fucking crazy. So let's play Jalen Tolbert. Actually, let's play Cowboys kicker at captain. Interesting. Let's play Jalen Tolbert, the third receiver for the Cowboys at the captain spot. Then we can go up. Then we can go up and get Dak Prescott, who's already there. We can go up. We can play. So look at this lineup you can make here by putting him in the captain spot. We'd have to, here. Let's lower this one here. And then we'd want some more Eagles presence here. So we have, with this lineup here, leaving 500 on the table with Jalen Tolbert in the captain spot. You could play Jalen Hurts, CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, Dak Prescott, Devontae Smith.
It's pretty good.
And you can always, if you wanted to go down from Lamb to Pickens, and you can go up from Smith to AJ Brown. There's lots of ways you can go. So that's how I'm approaching in tournaments. Again, that's not ironclad. Just kind of giving you an example. Please click. What are your thoughts lineup wise? 50-50s especially.
50-50s. I mean, I was playing around with this one. Now, obviously, I put Pickens in at the captain spot. Then I went Dakota, Prescott, CeeDee Lamb. I want to attack the middle of the field, so I went Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. I had some money left over, but the Kenneth Gainwell, Will Shipley comparison to Kenneth Gainwell kind of sold me. So I have Shipley in right now. So it's Pickens at the what is it called? The captain spot, Prescott, Lamb, Shipley, Smith, and Goddard. Kind of playing around a little bit still. It's still early in the week. I may flip out Smith, put in AJ Brown a little bit, look for him, but I do like your call on Turpin though.
Yeah, it's Jalen Tolbert, Turpin. Interesting. Again, final thoughts here. Keep this in mind. Number one, please click the link. Come check out the Patreon. It's $15. A lot of information and plays and all different sports. That's where you can get in our heads. You can chat with us in there as well, ask questions, all sorts of good stuff. So check that out. But if you're playing tournaments, and most of you are going to be playing tournaments in this, leave salary on the table. Try to be different. Try to stand out is the best advice I can give you for this. For myself, Eric, hope you have a great week. We'll have our Friday single game show out here in the next day or so, our full slate, all sorts of good stuff here at the DFS Huddle. For myself and Eric, have a great rest of your night. And, of course, good luck on all your future wagers.